All right. Good afternoon, colleagues, from wherever you're joining from. Welcome to today's research tips and tricks. This is the 28th edition we are having. This is supposed to be the edition for the month of July, but due to the training we had last week, we moved it to today. So welcome. We are dealing with a topic, persistence, the fuel that propels success. And that is the seventh in the series of the scientist success virtues, which is our theme for this year. So sit tight and derive as much lessons you get from today's session. And I believe it is for every one of us because there is no end to learning. There is no end to learning. So every scientist, regardless of your stage of experience or growth, there is something to learn. And I hope that at the end of today, each of us will take something back to include in our drawer of lessons. Okay, so I am Nwaru, and I am the presenter of this session. All right, as usual, I will send you out to your breakout sessions. I will send you out to your breakout sessions. And the assignment to the breakout rooms will be automatic. So wherever you find yourself, try to discuss with your colleagues on the issue given to your group. All right. So the first group will be looking at persistent not being my thing. I try my best, but I find it difficult to achieve my set goals. So if this is true, how is it true? If not, why not? So whichever pertains to you, discuss in your group and come up with a response. Each group should appoint one person who will come and present your thoughts in 1 minute. So group 2, I always keep my tempo. I know how to achieve any task I set to accomplish actually. If this is true, how? If not, why not? Okay. And then group number 3, discuss the chart on the left. This is the story of my career. If this is true, what causes it? What do you usually do to resolve it? So, what I plan, what actually happens. What I plan, what actually happens. All right. So, let me make the breakout now, and you can take a picture of this. You can take a picture of this, and then go to your group and discuss. I'm giving you 15 minutes to discuss this, and I will bring you back and I will make concluding presentation. All right, see you in 15 minutes. The rooms are open now. All right. Let's quickly go through the groups. Group number one. I mean, if you're presenting for your group, just raise your hand, and then I will call on you. Who is presenting for group number one? Group number one. Nobody's presenting for group number one. Okay, I have Zacchaeus, please.
Okay, thank you. Although according to the arrangement we made in our group, as you know, I am not the one to present, but since the person, I don't know, maybe she has network issue. We all agree that persistence is part of our journey to achieve our goal. Because in as much anybody that has vision,
Did he drop? We don't hear you, Zacchaeus. We don't hear you anymore. Okay, who is presenting for group number two? Is it Henry, please?
Hello, Prof. So I was in the same group with Zacchaeus, so that's why I put up my hand because he was muted.
Finish up. You have 45 seconds.
Okay, so he was just about to say that we agreed that persistence is a very important tool in like a toolbox to achieve the set goals, but it is not the only tool that you need to have. So sometimes you can be persistent and you are not achieving the goals. It's not because persistence does not work, but it's because you need other things that need to be combined with persistence in order to achieve your goals. But unanimously, we also agreed that persistence is very critical to achieving your set goals as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, I have Lubna. Are you for group number two?
Present for group number two. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you again. Our group task, how always keep my tempo. I know how to achieve any task and see to completion. Is this true? So the first one, if this true, we are two types in our group. Some of one are good planners. So the planning and time management, how to keep their deadlines and always working on one task or maximum of two tasks. So we get achieve their task and their goals. They are highly motivated. Another type of our group is those who are overwhelmed and working for multitask. So this is type of distraction and frustration. So cannot give their goal, and so they lost their motivation regarding how they lost their to achieve the outcomes and the goals. Another type. Also, they fail to manage their times. So we have the two type of people. The one good planner, time management, set their goals. They are always motivated. The second type, dealing with multitask, so lost their objective and then cannot achieve their task and cannot keep.
All right, thank you. All right, finally, group number three. Who is presenting for group number three? Who is presenting for group number three? Esra Derifa. Esra, mute yourself and speak. All right. Esra is not helping us. And we can't help her to unmute her. So let's yeah, Esra, have given you the right to unmute yourself. You just need to accept it when you see it on your screen. That's what I've done. Okay, Esra, I give you right to unmute yourself, and then you mute yourself. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so now she's muted herself. Let's go on. We don't have time. Okay, so persistence. As groups number 1 and 2 have said, persistence is important. And for you as a scientist, it's an absolute. It's not a relative virtue. It's an absolute virtue. Because you see on the left, I think you might have seen this figure before. Many times this is what we think. It's just a straightforward. You just come, either you succeed or you fail. But this is really on the right side, what we encounter on the journey to success. This is what we encounter on the journey to success. Because there are many obstacles we face. There are many rejections we face. There are many failures we face. And this can come from different aspects. Funding, you're pursuing tenure, you want to grow in your career, you want to be promoted. There are many failures. Is in publishing. I remember when I was in my PhD, one of my papers was rejected 11 times. It was the 12th time it was accepted. All right? And there are people who can tell you different stories in this direction as well. The research process, many things fail. You plan, but your experience comes opposite of your plans. In the environment where you work, it may be from colleagues, it may be from bureaucracies, policies, it may be from infrastructure. And so for us as scientists, we are in the midst of things that will discourage you. Naturally, will discourage you. There are many obstacles. So persistence becomes a virtue you must carry in your handbag. Even though many of us, our handbags are full of many things. Many things. And we keep the persistence at home because there's no space to fit it in there. All right? Our backpacks are so heavy that we keep persistence out. But I tell you, it is the first item you should pack in your bag, because as you step out, these are facing you. We are seeing you. So these are realities. Okay? So what is persistence? Well, usually I start with the dictionary, the common definition. And the Britannica dictionary says, it is the quality that allows someone to continue be doing something or trying to do something, even though it is difficult or opposed by other people. Number 2 is the state of occurring or existing beyond the usual. beyond the expected, beyond the normal time. The second one is tough. It connotes an unusual phenomenon that surrounds you. It connotes you seeing things while other people are seeing other things. All right? It connotes something that's beyond the normal. But if you go towards science, this is not pure science, it's between. It says persistence is defined as firm or obstinate resistance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Perseverance is closely linked to it, but it's not exactly the same thing. But it says that perseverance is the continued effort to do or achieve something, even if it's difficult and takes a long time. Sorry, that text didn't fit in there. Persistence is firm resistance. Perseverance is the effort you put in getting it. Okay, you see that? You resist. You don't accept, but you need to move away from there. Perseverance is the one now that takes you beyond where assistance brings you. And looking at these two definitions combined, I see a number of terminologies that we can expand them. We can expand them. You can expand them. Look for their meaning. Put them on your wall. You see them each day. You confess them each day. They become part of you. Continue. There's a movement. It means that what is in front of you does not stop you. Difficulty. It means that it is not easy, but you have accepted to move on despite that. Opposition. It means that there's something that is facing you. You are going towards it. It is coming towards you. But you need to move it. It is not to move you. You may take some steps backward because it is pushing you, but you generate energy to push forward. Unusual, unexpected, abnormal. It connotes going beyond the status quo. You know, there's something that irritates my ears. It's not that it is not a reality, but in many cases, it becomes a slogan for failure, timidity. And that is, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. You see, that becomes a toolbox for not thinking outside the box. Firm, inbuilt energy, resistance. The same as obstinate. Achieve that once you put those efforts, you persist, there is success around the corner. And finally, he says long time. It is not episodic. It is not episodic. You know, I got some friends over last weekend, and they were discussing about career growth, how challenging it has been. And I told them, you know, as I am today, I started from somewhere. I started from somewhere. And I can remember when I started my postgraduate studies more than 20 years ago, I knew some of those I started with. And we could sit down. People have different thoughts. People can paint pictures of what lies ahead, and those pictures are pictures of failure. And those pictures they paint make them to make a decision of confidence today. But some of us saw something beyond that. And today, I could speak to some of those friends, and you can hear in their voices defeat. Defeat. Because at the time they calculated, oh goodness me, so I have to take this long time. No, I don't have that patience. But you see, there's something that begins to count. It counts for you in the end. Because when you get to that point, you wouldn't even remember the long time it has taken. And many end up just having regrets. Why? Because they did not persist. All right. Some people have said something about persistence. Some people have said something about persistence. This is Thomas Edison. And what he says, I have not failed. I have not failed. All right. But he says, I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That won't work. All right. See, when he continued to try to make success, when he continued to try to make success, he was the one in the electric energy. He was the one trying to formulate the part of what he did was the light bulb we have today. And people castigated him. All right. He said he failed more than 1,000 times, but he didn't count it as failure. He said he found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. Maybe out of those 10,000 ways, one way worked. And that way that worked was actually the way of persistence. And that is the way that brought him to limelight, which means that if you don't persist, you wouldn't find that one way that works. All right, in 2009, Elizabeth Blackburn was given the Nobel Prize in Medicine or Physiology. And a few years ago, they were interviewing some Nobel laureates, and she was asked this question: what is your number one advice you will give to young scientists? And she said is persist, persevere, stay the course. Many people were actually very close, very, very close to where they're supposed to be, but they dropped out because they gave up. One of my PhD students was, finished recently. And the last time we met, she came to my office and she said, I would like to hear from you some piece of advice, final advice you give to me. I spent with her 2 hours, and I decided to tell her certain things that she has never heard before. And for these 2 hours, she was silent. I said, what I'm telling you, I don't give it out anyhow. But I'm giving it out to you because you are moving to somewhere you will need these things. It was like, are you sure these things you are telling me are true? My goodness. Yeah. Persist, persevere, stay the course. Many of us fail, not because we are supposed to fail, but because this bus stop we are supposed to get out is the next one. But we got out the bus stop before. We got out the bus stop before. Why? Because we didn't heed this advice. And if Elizabeth had not followed this, she would have dropped. Maybe she would have thought that was where her career ended. But you see, persist, persevere, stay the course, took her to a level that the word of scientists, the global house of science, recognize her. All right. You need a persistent mindset. We need it. And I liked what Armando Aguila presented. Some advice is presented. The first one, he said you should start small. Many of us are ambitious, but are unrealistically ambitious. You're ambitious, but you're unrealistically ambitious. You see, as I've showed you about Elizabeth Blackburn, some of you may have some sense in you. I would like to be like her. That is a very good aspiration. But you see, if she tells you the story, I've listened to a number of Nobel Prize winners in science. I've listened to a number of them. And there is one thread of experience that goes through them. Starting small, keeping the pace, maintaining equilibrium, building on your momentum, not being in a hurry. You're ambitious, but you need to be realistically ambitious. You need to understand your strength so that there are those who are Usain Bolt who run, but there are those who are also marathon runners, not speed runners. And many of us think that, well, I will be Usain Bolt, but you may actually be on the slow lane, or the marathon runner. All right, so break your goals into small, manageable tasks. Focus on small wins, one at a time. Build momentum, be consistent. Many of us, the problem we have is not knowing what to do, but it's just that we are inconsistent. And sometimes this inconsistency is as a result of being unrealistic of who we are, what we do, what we should be doing. All right? And sooner or later, failure comes. So start small and build momentum. With that, you begin to develop resilience and endurance as you compartmentalize your success. Right? Second one is embrace failure. There are some realities in science And failure is one of those realities. As I've explained to you, rejection, obstacles, and so on and so forth. Failure is one of those realities. Embrace it, because sooner or later, or even more often, things will not work the way you have planned them to work out. All right? And this will provide you the opportunity, the ingredients you need for growth, to learn the lessons. Many of us, when failure comes, we are devastated. We are emotionally thrown off balance and become enemies of ourselves. Some of us go home and begin to deal with your spouses, begin to deal with your children. You carry over effect, and you begin to think it's those around you. No, it's just you fighting yourself. Why? Because this is a reality you have to learn to deal with. It's a reality you have to learn to deal with. So embrace it, reframe your strategies. All right? This will improve your learning curve and also provide resilience when further obstacles will come. Number 3, seek feedback. Some of us want to do it alone. You know, the way you're working, the way you're doing it, you may need to get feedback. Ask people around you. Ask your peers. Ask your seniors. Ask your supervisors. Ask your mentors. What can I improve? What am I not doing well? How can I do better? And accept those advice. If you have good people around you, that will be helpful for you. Seek feedback. Solicit feedback. Identify areas for improvement. Develop a growth mindset. Don't be static. Continuously improve your skills and abilities. That's one of the things we do in ASFI, capacity building. Some of us think that, no, you see, you need to do these things, you need to do these things, you need to continuously. It's not one-off, you need to continuously. Do it all over again. Go for that motivation. Do it all over again. And then you see that you begin to become another man, another woman. All right? Cultivate a learning mindset. Appreciate that learning is lifelong. We'll have, I always preach in ASF 5, the 30-70% rule. Adopt an attitude of curiosity. Expand your knowledge and skills base. Expand them. Expand them. Many times you see people speak, people give speeches, you think they have come from the skies, no? These are the things they do. They look for opportunities. They take opportunities. They learn. And consciously or unconsciously, these things become part of you. We are talking about persistence today. This is one of the stories I like. For those who have attended some of our courses, you might have encountered this. I like this a lot. The power of atomic habit. This was a story of the British cycling team. A team that was dwarfed, pitied, dwelt in failure for 100 years or even more. All right? But something happened when a man came into the midst and he decided that he was going to do something. And this, I want to tell you this, because when you talk about persistence is not an abstract. It requires checking yourself. It requires attitude. It requires action that you need to put into place. And this is an example of what could be done. All right? A change of trajectory when Dave Brassford was recruited. called Aggregation of Marginal Gains, in which he implemented some interventions, very minor things, checked around the team with careful eye, check it, and decided to implement little things around the team. Breaking down everything you do and start improving each by 1%. Put them together and you have a significant cumulative gain increase. This is what he did. All right. So when it came to the team, he saw the history of failure. He put that story aside, he locked it in the cupboard. Perhaps it was written on a sheet of paper. He put it there. He brought another sheet of paper, new ones. And started writing his own. Start writing what would change that story. He designed a bike seat for more comfort. He used alcohol on tires for better grip. He electrically heat shorts, the shorts they wear, to maintain ideal temperature. Tested various fabrics that could be used by the team to enhance performance. The adult riders switched to indoor suits. He tested different massage gels. He hired a medical doctor to teach riders best ways to wash hands to reduce cold. He chose right pillow and mattresses for best sleeping. He painted inside the team truck white to spot any dust. He did hundreds of these atomic interventions. And 5 years, just 5 years. It was recruited in 2003 and 2008. My goodness. This team, before he came, was bad that bike producers around Europe didn't want to send to them. Because they wanted to send to teams. What happened? He said just in 2008, in the Beijing Olympic Games, they won 60% of gold medals that was present in that tournament. They won world records, 7 world records, set 9 Olympic records. They won and won. And that, he says, that era was the most successful run in cycling history. Well, I'm not giving you motivation. I'm telling you something that works. Something that works. To persist is not just to have the will, it's also knowing what to do, how to do it, when to do it. It's very important. In SFI, we started lots of interventions. You see, some don't take it serious, but those who take it serious will testify to the benefit they have received. You may not have bigger chances to go to Yale, to go to Harvard. You have it at your doorstep. You stay in your room to do it. You stay in your house, you stay in your office. The power of atomic habit, making those changes that will take you higher and higher. All right. So that is where I will end today. And I hope you have picked one thing or the other to introduce you. Our next virtue is patience, 30th of August, the lubricator of the research storms, patience, 30th of August. So please join us. And the 8th edition of the Science Seminar Series, 25th of August, From Foods to Health, Making a Difference for African Science. We have 2 projects that will be presenting that day. So please join us. This will be interesting, very interesting. What some of our colleagues are doing with some of their innovative ideas. Registration continues for ASFI virtual multidisciplinary conference. This is 2nd edition. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a very rewarding experience. So please register and join us. Abstract submission, regular abstract submission closed 2 days ago, I think. And hopefully from next week, we'll announce late-breaking abstract. So if you missed the first opportunity, another opportunity is coming, but you know that the standard of late-breaking abstract is high. In any case, we encourage you to submit your abstract. Already, by this time last year, what we got this year surpassed what we got last year by this time already. We have, I think, 51 abstracts submitted by deadline. That is quite rich. And I believe in the late-breaking abstract, there will be much more. So bring yours forward and join us. The theme is revolutionizing perspective, unleashing innovation in African research. Okay, another capacity building course out of scientific writing and publishing. I believe that many African scientists need this, how to communicate and communicate effectively. So registration is going on, and I hope you take the opportunity. Yes, African Science Frontiers Initiatives Research Journal, and we are processing the articles submitted for the maiden edition, but you know the journal is continuous. It's continuous. So submit your paper, gather your paper and submit your paper anytime the door is open, so that you'll be part of this history making, to have a journal, multidisciplinary journal, that tells the African story in an authentic way. Okay, so thank you very much, colleagues. Sorry for taking a few of your time, but I wish you all the best during this weekend. Okay, thank you, and have a lovely weekend. Okay.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
And good day to everyone.
Thank you. Good day.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.